Cancer sun, I feel what you don't say. Scorpio moon, I see through the gray. I'm tuned to your soul, I read the unseen. 8th house mind, 12th house dreams. Tarot in my head.
Hello, it's me, Danyell Carmelita, your favorite tarot reader in astrology. And I just want you to know that astrology has a pattern of recognition. And this is why we look at historical events connected to astrology transits, astrological transits. And then that can give us clues about the future. So, right now we have a Saturn Neptune conjunction, and this cycle is repeating. It happens every 36 years. I am looking at historically, what does that mean? I have several videos on this, but we're going to repeat it in this video briefly because we're going to connect it to some other things. In this video, I'm going to look back on Iran. We're going to look back on Israel. We're going to look back on USA. And we're going to see what patterns come up again and again. Now, also, too, I want to break this video down into some layers. So first, we're doing a historical astrological breakdown. And we'll look at the events and see how this is going to be connected to the future. Then we're going to look at the current times. And that's more around February 28th when we had the first attack. Not we had the first attack, when there was the first attack with Iran. And finally, we're going to look at some predictions. I'm going to tell you some predictions, okay? So if you're into this, then you are at the right place. And let's get started historically. I wish I had slides, and I really wanted to do this video pre-taped. So because I find that the brain is very stimulated nowadays in these visual things, but I don't want to do the slides live. It just becomes it's easier for me to do it edited. Anyway, but let me just basically explain these things to you, and hopefully you get the visuals in your head. Okay. Now, first, we're going to talk about the Saturn and Neptune conjunction throughout history. That is what we have currently right now. Let me put up the chart so you can see what that looks like. Oops, wait, okay. There we go. Where is the chart? Here it is. Okay, so this is what we have currently now. Right here, we have Neptune and Saturn. If you see, they are sitting close together, and that is called a conjunction. Okay, and this happens every 36 years. This is one of the big patterns here. We're going to talk about some other things, but this is the big one. So the years that this happened is in 1882, 1917, 1952. 1989, and now currently. Now, and also this briefly happened in 2025, just so you know, but now it's happening currently. Hello, Sandra. How are you doing? Blessings always for sharing the divine insights with us all, keeping us updated, uplifted, and illuminated. Thank you so much, Sandra, for being here. I'm glad you also comment too. I really appreciate that. Now, so those are the years we have. Now, I do have to give a disclaimer. I am not a historian. Okay. Some people think I am because my major in undergrad was Africana Studies, and it was not really historical. We discussed it, of course, a lot, but it was more African American studies. Also, too, strong emphasis on psychology. I took really a lot of psychology classes, which is very fitting also to with astrology and tarot. Anyway, but back to what I was saying. So back to history. I'm not a historian. Okay, so if you know history and how this connects, that would even be better. So I had to do this video. Took a minute to come because I really want to watch a documentary and I couldn't find it. I had to go to the movie theaters. I didn't go. It's called Palestine 36, I think is what it's called. I really wanted to watch a documentary on it. Anyway, but so the key themes for this conjunction over these years that I just mentioned, I'm jumping all over the place. I'm sorry. It's just I was going to say historically, I'm not as informed as I am astrologically. So, but I'll just tell you the astrological things and the dates, the years that this conjunction happened. And the core themes we have is you're talking about a religious or spiritual war, maybe even dealing with ideology. There's propagandas. This is dealing with a lot of borders and dissolving of borders. Okay, so like what does the country expand? Does it reduce kind of energy? Okay, confusion when it comes to authority. Illusions mixed with consequences, a lot of sacrificing, a lot of religion, a lot of oil, a lot of secrecy, a lot of foreign control, a lot of state power. Okay. Now, with this conjunction also comes involving a lot of things dealing with the government, because Saturn represents the government, things dealing with foreign interference, things dealing with conflict. Okay. That's really strong and very realistic because that Saturn makes the negative of things come to pass, come not to pass, come up, comes up. Again, changing of the borders, leadership is going to shift or change. A lot of power struggles, again, propaganda, again, pre-war kind of energy, or even war itself. Okay, so let me break it down. I'm gonna go start with 1881 when it was Taurus. Okay, should we put it up in the chart or should I tell you? What do you guys think? Do we need the visual? Let's do the visual. Okay. Do I want to do that for every year? Okay. Danyell is like, stop being lazy. Okay, let me pull up Saturn conjunct Neptune. Okay, so first we have it in 18. I mean, we had it before then, but we'll do 1882. Okay, so here it is here. The Saturn and Neptune conjunction in the sign Taurus. Okay, now if we're talking about America, sorry if you guys can hear that. If we are talking about America, that is when we had a president, Garfield, Charles J. something in Washington. He was shot. No, Charles shot President Garfield. Okay. In 1882, the U.S. market major milestones, including restrictions of immigration. Again, immigration, foreign affairs. Okay. That happened in America. In Iran, 1881, I cannot pronounce some things. Okay. This is when they force major shifts with Russia, Turkey, and the border around there. That was changed. Okay. This severe severed traditional ties in Central Asian cities. British interests were also strengthening in Iran's economic affair. It's very interesting, me reading the historical stuff, and I'm like, people are in other people's business. So basically, it seems like a lot of Western countries were really involved in Iran, and it changed a lot of the borders in Iran in 1881. Far as Israel, and we'll also throw Palestine in there. This is when the first Aliyah happened. I think this is when they do um the pilgrimage to Israel. I think it's called an Aliyah. Sandra says whatever is easier. I'm just gonna put the dates up because I'm a visual person. Anyway, but this is when they had the first migration to Palestine. At the time, it was called Ottoman Empire, and it was ruled by Palestine. But like 25,000, 35,000 Jews came to Palestine. Okay, so this period is when they started planting the seeds for taking over the land. Okay, now if we move to, so that's why I started at this date, because this is kind of like the beginning, not really, but this is what we have. So now we go into 1917. And this is when this conjunction is in the sign Leo, 4 degrees. That's a degree of home. Anyway, but when you're talking about USA in this conjunction, this is when World War One kind of started to happen, right? Wilson is reelected on a he kept us out of war kind of platform. Tensions were building. The Black Tom explosion, sabotage happened. There were some issues with Mexico around there. Then in 1917, the U.S. declares war on Germany, and we officially, I say we because I'm American, entered World War One. Okay, there we go. So that's 1 point of war. Okay, Iran during this conjunction that we currently have now in 1916, Russian forces continued military offensives, and Ottoman, that is what they used to call Israel, and that is what they used to call Palestine. They retake Hamadan. Okay, I'm just going to put it in simple forms. This is when they were still fighting over who's going to own what in um in Israel, okay? And it was a failed coup. It was attempted by Tehran in November 1916, okay? So a lot of issues too with oil was also involved at that time. Britain and France secretly negotiated Sky Picot, and it was basically they were like, okay, what are we going to do with Palestine? That happened with that. It's just crazy how that can happen. Anyway, again, I'm just repeating myself. Um, so imperial power, land promises, war strategy, territory transition happen, and foundations of later conflict happen with that conjunction. Okay, now here we have the next one. This is in 1952. Okay, I'm not explaining the historical parts really well, but I'm telling you right now, each time there is this conjunction, a border gets changed. So we'll just leave it at that. Okay, so now we have here in 1951. Actually, this conjunction happened 1951 to 1953. This conjunction here is in the sign Libra. Libra seems like a very nice zodiac sign, but when you're talking about the outer and you're talking about Saturn, Libra really talks about your next door neighbor. It talks about your allies. It talks about your open enemies. Okay. This is another major thing here because now you're talking about power struggles in 1951 to 1953, a foreign control, migration again. And this was a change of leadership. There was 1951 with America. This is when the Korean War happened, the Cold War tensions. The U.S. continues fighting in Korea. UN deems China as an aggressor. Nuclear bombs started to get tested too. Also, too, let me see. Eisenhower defeats I can't say the name, a Muslim leader. Okay. Also, too, ends 20 years of democratic rule. Okay, from what I know, in my simple mind of historical facts here, 1952 is when it seems like USA got involved with Iran and changed their leadership. Okay. And it looks like when you talk about the current times, changing the leadership again, saying like, oh, we made it better. It seems like America is the one that took away the democratic rule in the first place. And that looks like that happened in 1952. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong historically, but this is what I'm getting from my small research of little knowledge historically. Okay. So it's very interesting that here comes USA moseying on again in this conjunction, changing the power and how it dictates things, but also making it seem like USA is very positive. I just want to also say, too, currently Mercury is retrograding in Pisces. Don't believe what people are saying. Okay, just use your intuition. Okay, so Israel in 1951. It says Operation Ezra and Nehemiah. I can't pronounce it. I don't know what that means, but I just want to throw that out there. But there was some bombings in Baghdad. There was a Jewish exodus. There was a second um, election happening too. Early signs of tensions tied to refugees, borders, and state building. In 1952, there was a president who someone becomes the second president of Israel. So now Israel is in charge. And it was very interesting. They asked Albert Einstein to be president, and he declined. I learned that through my notes too. Anyway, but mass immigration from Iraq ends, heavy border tensions, again, frequent clashes with Arab infiltrators happening. There was a massacre that happened in October in it's pronounced Qibya. I cannot say a lot of these words. So Cuba, but there was a major massacre. 69 civilians were killed. This happened with this conjunction. Okay, 71 Israelis killed by infiltrators. So a lot of killing in regards to the borders of Israel. But Israel is now Israel at this time. Now. In Iran in 1951, you have the rise of Muhammad. He becomes prime minister. He becomes a symbol of resilience. Also, Britain blockades Iranian oil's exports. A lot of trade here, a lot of things dealing with resources and control of oil. For some reason, oil, not for some reason, we are talking about the Middle East, but oil is a big theme also dealing with this conjunction. Iran in 1952, there was an uprising, violent protest with the Shah. From what I understand, the Shah is what America came in when they took the democratic ruling out, when people were allowed to vote. they became shahs. And I think that's like more of a dictatorship. Let me know if I'm wrong. But also, too, in 1952, when this conjunction happened for Iran, it didn't seem like it was the best. And they were oil crisis was a big deal. They lost that and all that stuff. In 1953, Iran coup attacked. I'm saying these things all wrong, but CIA got involved. They overthrew their leader, and now the Shah is restored. Okay, all this happened between 1951 and 53. Libra wasn't a happy conjunction. Okay, now let's move on. The whole point, the major themes you have here is that here comes USA meddling in the business of Iran and Israel. Iran and Israel are fighting. They're constantly fighting, and they're talking about the expansion of borders. This is a common theme. There's huge issues of oil. Now we have this currently. These are the same things are going to happen, and there is a change of leadership. Okay, war, change of leadership, borders expanding or reducing. Okay, and then issues with oil. Okay, so now let's go to the next conjunction. The next conjunction happened in 1989. Okay, 1989 is in the sign Capricorn. Capricorn is all about the government and leaderships and old men. Okay, 1989 is a landmark year of the end of the Cold War. Israel and Palestine, this is when their stuff started to intensify even more. Violent confrontations and curfews, over 70 Palestinians death in Gaza alone. Large Israel protests against the government's iron fist policy. It's also very interesting. Currently, we cannot know what's going on in Israel, even in Dubai, because they have such a strict policy when it comes to social media and spreading the news, and that is that Pluto in the sign Aquarius. Okay, I hope I don't forget, because I know I don't have in my notes to forget to talk about what's currently the vibe in the sky, not just the major conjunctions, but I do want to talk about the focus of the major conjunctions of what is not conjunctions, aspects. Astrologically, of why we have this war, what could possibly happen in the future. Okay. Also in 1989, with this conjunction in Capricorn of these two planets, Palestine, there was a suicide attack within Israel borders. This is when the rise of Hamas happened. Okay. Capricorn is very serious, is thinking long term, is very goal orientated. Okay. So a lot of these things are happening. Border violence continues. And also, too, Palestine. If you look up the natal chart for Palestine, they have a Saturn and Neptune conjunction. So anyone who is with this conjunction in their natal chart, this thing is going to be very strong. So if you have a country with this conjunction or any type of aspect, and the aspect happens currently, they're going to be on a spotlight. Okay. Also, too, was the death of in Iran. There was the death of a leader, Ayatollah. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. This is in 1989. Huge mourning and power vacuum. Um, some some leader was dismissed. I can't say their name, and then they have a new president. Again, changing the ruling system, not the system, but who's in charge. Okay, leadership death, leadership transition, militant escalation, new state structure, public unrest, propaganda, and control. Okay, if you don't know, those are the main takeaways between most of the dates here with this conjunction. This is what we currently have now. Okay, so this could possibly happen with America. This could possibly happen with Israel, but definitely it's already happened with Iran. All right, so let's talk about another aspect, and then I'll talk about the future. We just have to currently look in the past. We're going to talk about, we'll go to now and remove this. I want to talk about Mars squaring Uranus. Okay, Mars. Let's do the first attack, actually. First strike on Iran. Here it is. This is February 28th, 2026. And Mars is at 28 degrees in the sign Aquarius, and it's squaring Uranus. Okay. If you're not into astrology, you're like, I don't know what that means. I'm going to explain it. Not only do we have this conjunction, which I just went over historically, what that means, right? The change of power, the change of territory, war. Okay. Not only do we have this, but we also have this energy, Mars squaring Uranus. Conjunctions are strong. They could be good or bad. Squares are bad. There's no good or bad, right? Now, if you're talking about mundane astrology, world astrology, there's a huge change here. All right. Now, this is tension. This is change. Mars is currently the ruler of this conjunction. So, whatever Mars is doing is going to be a bigger deal. That actually makes this situation worse than all the other conjunctions, what I explained. You're talking about Libra, Leo, Capricorn. Now you have it in the sign Aries. That just 100% represents war. Mars is in charge. Mars is the ruler of this conjunction, it's the ruler of what these planets are doing. Okay. Now, because it's the ruler of what these planets are doing, Mars is not doing the best with Uranus. And Uranus represents things that are out of control. Surprise! We're going to do something that's out of box. Okay. So, this is what we have here June 2025. We'll go off of that historically. Let me see. Mars squares Uranus. Let me see. Too many years. I'm trying to press the buttons fast. 2025 of June. Here we go. Here we have Mars. Where's my Mars? Here's Uranus in the sign Taurus. Mars is in the sign Leo. This happened last year, not that long ago. And this is when they had Operation Rising Lion. Very Rising Lion, Leo. Okay, the lion. And Israel launched a direct air and missile campaign against Iran's nuclear facilities, okay, in their military, in their government, in their infrastructure. This is when Iran retaliated. Hundreds of missiles and over 1,000 drones were launched. Tel Aviv and other sites or cities were targeted. This became what they called a 12-day war. I don't know if you guys know that, but that's what happened June 2025. Now, if you were just a regular American like me, you were just on TikTok minding your business. Maybe you saw it scrolling, but that happened. And that is when you had this arrangement happening as well. Now, on top of that, the conjunction is there. Okay. And it wasn't seem like it was that big, but now it's even bigger. Okay. And I'll tell you why this is a big difference, why this is even bigger. Okay. So we had this before, and you had this 12-day war. And Mars, when you have Mars dealing with Uranus, I didn't mention this earlier, sudden escalations, a lot of shocks, could be some strikes, a lot of retaliations, unexpected warfare, could be some technology glitches, but it's dealing with war, airstrikes in the air. Okay. Rapid fire, very aggressive with this Leo energy. And this is about a change. Okay. So we have that aspect, and we had that currently. If I go back to the strike of when we had the first strike, we had that same placement and this same placement. Okay. Now, why does it make it stronger? We'll talk about this as well. Let's talk about the eclipse before I even get to that. But just remember, we have both of those. We have the conjunction of your Neptune and Saturn, and then we have this square happening as well. Now let's talk about eclipse, because this happened during eclipse season, okay? And we have to look at historically what happens during eclipse season. Now, I've said in my previous video that a lot of my videos that the eclipse represents the death of a leader. That is a natural astrological omen. Even before astrologers were writing down things in books, they knew, oh my gosh, there's an eclipse, there could be a death of a leader. Okay. Now, I do want you to understand that every time there's been an eclipse, since we had a Libra eclipse, there has been this revved up of things getting bigger and bigger and bigger when it came to Palestine, Israel, period. Okay. So if we go back to 1947, Palestine started to lose some land. There was an eclipse around that time. 1967, also, there was eclipse related incidents. Remember, there was like an incident with pagers. That happened. The Hamas attack happened, and there was October 14th eclipse. That literally happened like what, a day or the next day after, or maybe the same day of the eclipse. That is when the Hamas attack happened. October 28th of 2023, we had a Taurus lunar partial eclipse. That's when Israel ground started to attack. That's when they had the pager attacks as well. So I want you to understand that every time there's an eclipse, the situation builds and it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. Okay. So we had current eclipse season happening. Okay. The eclipse here, let me see. We had an eclipse. Is this currently? Oh, this is in 1947. Let's go to currently. Um, okay. So February, we'll do it at this one, this chart. This is eclipse season. You see, you have this conjunction here. You have Uranus over here. Mars is not yet there, but here's the eclipse. Mars is sitting next to this eclipse. If you look at the video that I did, I don't even remember what I said, but I know for a fact that I talked about war here, the mentioning of war, because you have this Mars sitting here next to this aggressive eclipse. Okay, so I want you to understand that this says 28. Okay, we'll just keep it simple. This is at 28 degrees in Aquarius. Anytime something's at 28 degrees of not 28 degrees, but anytime there's an eclipse, you look at the degree, and when there's a planet coming and it hits that degree, it's going to represent what happens during that eclipse. Okay, so now you have Mars when it comes up to 28 degrees, which happened February 28th, also a 28 number. Then we had the attack. That's when we had the first bomb. Okay, also, let me see. And then also, okay. So I explained that in previous, most recent eclipse, not most recent eclipse, but if we start at the eclipse, where are my notes? In 2023, the Hamas attack. And if you keep looking at all the eclipse seasons throughout that, it was building up. Things got messy with Israel and USA and Iran. Okay. So now February 17th, we had an eclipse, and you have this here. The next eclipse that we had after that, and that's what they call eclipse season. When the eclipses are a few weeks apart, they call that eclipse season. So this happened during eclipse season. Now we had another eclipse here, and the eclipse is happening in the sign Virgo at 12 degrees. 12 degrees represents a death. It represents Pisces energy, just so you know. Let me see what else we have here. Death, rebirth, power, transition. Yeah, okay. So there is that. So I just want to explain because I'm trying to make it complicated. We have Neptune and Saturn conjunction. We have Mars squaring Uranus on the 28th of February with the conjunction. And we are in between eclipse season. An eclipse does not happen that day. Rarely does a thing happen that day. It gives it some time. Some people say a 7-day window before and after. Some people say longer, depending on how strong the eclipse is. I just want you to know those are the three factors that make this war those are the main three factors. Okay. Also, speaking of eclipse, I want you to understand that Trump was born during the eclipse. What's his name? Netanyahu. I can't pronounce his name. Benjamin Netanyahu was born through okay, so Trump was born through a total lunar eclipse. Benjamin was born through a partial solar eclipse. The Iran leader Ali something, I can't pronounce his last name. I apologize. Okay, I'm really bad. I can't even say Netanyahu. Okay, I just want you to understand. He was born during an annular solar eclipse. This is not normal. Okay. That is crazy, odd, and weird. Is it odd? No. But that's just letting you know. So this is faded energy. All these people are dealing with, and it was like, if I paid attention, if I cared about what was going on, you can really easily predict this because you have these three leaders who were born during the eclipse. Then the prediction is easy to say that during the eclipse season, something's going to happen. And that is not to say that won't be happening in the future for Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu as well. So there is that. Let me see what else I have. Also, too, I wanted to say that this eclipse, more looking at this eclipse in February, that deals with this degree because this is eclipse that really made it big here. Not only does it have a 28, it happened at 28 degrees. The first bomb was shot on February 28th. Then also this eclipse is during it's under Venus here, and Venus is representing allies, open enemies, and partnerships. Just so you know. Also, too, this eclipse was squaring Uranus. Again, another Mars and all this is squaring Uranus. Uranus again, surprise! Something dealing with the air and surprise too. Okay. Let me see what else I have here. Oh, let's talk about the leaders, since we were talking about them. Let me see if I can pull up their charts. Let's see. Let's start with Benjamin. Okay. I want you to know that this eclipse, let's put this on the second one. Second chart. Okay. So the leaders on the inside, everyone else is on the outside. Okay. This eclipse personally was affecting his chart because it's opposing his Mars at 26 degrees, and Mars represents war. Okay. So there you have that. Mars in Aquarius is in the sky. You're in, okay, I have that. Okay. Also, it's the T square happening for him too. Let's see, where's the T square? Oh, here we are. Sextile square. It's a T square with Uranus. Wow, that's that. A T square basically means tension. Things that are very different is going to be affecting him. Didn't seem like it was negative, but rumors are is he alive? There is that too as well. Okay, so let's see Trump's chart here. Now, Trump, the eclipse, where is the eclipse? The eclipse is here. He also has a Mars in Leo, the same as Benjamin Netanyahu. Very interesting. At the same degree, also dealing with his ascendant. This is opposing this, okay? So this is his allies, his open enemies opposing. Also the rumors are that America is not doing that great in this war. Okay. And that would make sense that it's opposing, and there's a T square with Israel because the eclipse didn't work great with them, even though they did lose their leader. I do want you to understand that. Okay. Yeah, but there is dealing with aggression where you're dealing with Mars, you're dealing with war. Yeah, very strong energy. Now, also, too, let me see what else. Do we have something else with the eclipse? No. Okay. So let's talk about currently what we have currently in the sky. Do I have my notes in that? Okay, no. So I'll just tell you what I know. Okay, let's remove this and let's go to currently what we have in the sky. We'll do it with the first bomb. Yeah, we'll do it with the first bomb. So what I want you to also understand that we have currently. So those transits alone and the eclipse is the reason why we're in this predicament that we're in. And in the future, looking at those same transits, I can help you see what dates are very important to look out for. Okay. Now, but I want you to understand some other things that are currently happening, why this is even a bigger mess. Mercury is retrograding in Pisces, okay? Even when you have this first strike, it was sitting next to Venus. Mercury retrograding means that Mercury does not work. Mercury does not like to be in the sign Pisces, okay? Pisces represents death. Pisces represents confusion. Pisces doesn't really speak English, okay? Or whatever language you are communicating. It likes to speak in symbolisms and la 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 kind of energy. Okay, what are you feeling? So Mercury doesn't like to be in Pisces because it's like you're not making no goddamn sense. Okay, so we already know that, and it's retrograding. Mercury in Pisces is like the worst planet to retrograde in. Okay, also too, I said Pisces represents death. It represents ending. Pisces also represents oil. Yeah, let me see what else. Confusion and lost in the sauce. Secrets. Okay, never ending. The darkness also too. Okay. Yeah, so that's what Pisces represents. Sitting next to that Venus energy, Venus represents partnerships. It represents your allies. It represents your harmony and your balance. Yeah, not working great there. Okay. So I just want you to understand that that's the vibe in the sky. These things have moved on. Mercury moves fast every day, but I want you to currently know that that's what we're dealing with. So anytime anyone during this war, any leaders are discussing the logistics of things. Mercury's in charge of logistics. Oh, was I showing a chart? I don't know if I was showing a chart. Is in charge of logistics, and it's not working. Logistics does not work. So any of the details that they are explaining to you, lost in a sauce. Okay, just know that they could be lying. Use your intuition. Wait until Mercury. I would wait until Mercury leaves Pisces, but just wait until it stops retrograding for sure. Okay. So you have that. Also, you have Pluto is in the sign Aquarius. Pluto in Aquarius means censorship. Again, censorship. So us getting our information from the news, us getting our information from social media is being powered and controlled. That is what that represents. I have videos all on this, so go ahead, check that out. But that also too, this is a big transition in the sky. Okay. Aquarius is an air sign. The air literally represents the air. And so there is some power control and some transitioning of the sky. I would think that what you normally fight with the air may not be working its best, especially with this one at 28 degrees. Not really working good with Uranus as well. Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius energy, and the fighting doesn't work well in the sky. So you have that as well. Yeah, so that's what we have currently. All right, so let's talk about some predictions. Isn't that the best part? Now, let's talk about what we have for the future. What I saw here, what should I connect it to? Current transits. Let's move it to April 10th. Oh, coming around the mountain. Here she comes. April 10th here. Now, what you see now here is Mars has entered the building. It is now sitting next to Uranus and Neptune. I've said in previous videos, when it's Aries season, you better watch out. Okay, the sun is going to highlight some stuff. Once we have the spring equinox, check out the spring equinox video. It says a lot about our future. So go ahead and check out that because it talks about what we have for the year upcoming. So we already have that. I won't repeat it. But now when you have Mars come and it starts to conjunct these two planets, Mars is the planet of war. Okay. For the United States, this energy is going to hit the homeland axis. USA, there could be some big energy there. Israel is going to activate its open enemies. So we'll see how that affects us because it also represents partnerships. For Iran, this energy lands directly on their sun. This could represent leadership, national identity. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Let me see. And remember, Mars is the ruler of this. So whatever is doing, it's really important. Let's pull up USA. 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 Where is USA? I have Los Angeles. Do you guys see it? Okay. USA first. It is a Sagittarius rising. If you see here, it's sitting on the IC. This makes me think around April, there could be something dealing with the homeland. I don't want to be negative, Nancy. Okay. I'll just tell you what IC represents. Mars represents war. And war is sitting next to the IC, which represents homeland, domestic foundations, internal security, land itself, the emotional sound or the emotional need of America. Let me see. April 11th is your birthday. Well, you're in Aries. Happy solar return coming up. Let's just say your birthday is going to be very interesting. Okay. Oh, 1952. So you were born around this conjunction too that I've been talking about. That's very interesting. Okay. There could be some homeland security issues happening. A lot of military. Mars represents the military. Anything sharp, guns, bombs, war, fire, blood. I'm just telling you what it represents. Okay. Also represents anger. So that could be happening. Yeah, military too. So just get ready for that. Okay. When it's on the IC. Homeland, military. This is in the fifth house. Fifth house is the self-expression and really having strong energy with that. Yeah, don't say I didn't warn you what could happen around April 10th. Happy birthday, Sandra. Okay, now let's look at Israel. Let's see what happens with Israel around April 10th. Around April 10th, this energy is going to, not really close to their descendant, it just enters their seventh house. And this represents their open enemies, also represents their partnerships, which is America. So something could be happening with either Iran and America when you're looking at this. This also if you're talking about Israel alone, it talks about their harmony and their balance of stuff, okay? Now, this is also squaring their 10th house, their Venus in 10th house. Again, this represents partnerships. This makes me think, again, an issue with America. So just get ready. International criticism, diplomatic strain. There could be some reputation negativity for their reputations or the reputations of America. America is a Cancer partner who is a Cancer and a reputation there. Okay. Now, what's very interesting though is that this energy trines their Leo, so they're all good. um, so that's interesting. Also, I mean, not trines their Leo, but trines their moon. That's very interesting. Their people are seem very happy. Strong national unity, public support for the leadership, large scale of positivity for their land. So that's what makes me think April 10th might be more of a USA problem. Okay. Now let's talk about what Iran looks like. Iran here, we have it sitting on its sun. Well, now the sun highlights stuff. It brings the flashlight to a lot of things. The sun also represents leadership, national identity, the ego. If you're talking about a nation, the ego of the nation, authority, yeah, leadership. So there could be a strong leader, or maybe there is aggression towards the leader. Because remember, I told you conjunctions are good or bad, but they are very strong. So that is what you have. There could be pressure, maybe there's limitations, or maybe their dream is a reality. Leadership under intense pressure, strong displays of national pride. Um, yeah, let's see what that looks like. I'm just telling you what that conjunction could represent for them. When you have the fifth house, you are talking about youth. So maybe like a younger leader could be stepping up. You are talking about being creative as well. So let's see how that turns out for them. Let me see what else I have. If it's negative, it will be like illusions of power is highlighted, like they seem like they were powerful and they're really not. That could be also a thing. But that Mars makes it very aggressive, and these two planets together is very, 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 very aggressive. I wanted to throw something else in here. I wanted to throw Los Angeles. I live in LA. And I thought this was interesting too, because when Mars enters the building in the sign Aries, it's going to sit on the moon for people in LA. The moon represents, if you're doing astrology, it represents the people. So this is could be a very interesting time. Let me see what I have here in my notes. Public emotional activation, tensions in relationship are open conflicts, instability for the public mood, disruptions, and there could be disruptions with something dealing with leadership. This could be the governor or the mayor or something like that. But LA, there's something here. This is a warning for LA. Okay. But the Mars is sitting on top of the moon. Conjunctions are strong. Remember, they're good or bad. So there could be some disharmony here for the people of LA. Just want you to know that. Let me see what else I have. Anger, too, could represent anger for people in LA, too. Let me see. Oh, also, too, what's interesting is that it is squaring Uranus. So remember, I said Mars square Uranus. I said that earlier of why we had this war. So there could be a shocking, I don't want to say bomb, something in LA around April 10th. Okay. Mars represents, again, weapons, destruction, right? Uranus also could represent a destruction, especially when Mars is involved. Let me see. Let me see. I have this book here. It's called The Archetype of the Universe. Let's look up Mars and Uranus conjunction here. Let's see if I can get some better words here. We'll do the good. It's squaring. Squaring means not good. So we'll look at the bad stuff. Excessive self-will, reckless, courage, defiance, impulsive rash actions, flash of anger. That's what you have personally. If we translate that to the world, something fast in anger. Uranus represents speed. So something unexpected in anger. Yeah, so let's get, and this is on stage. So this could be dealing with LA's government, leadership. When it was the fires in LA, we had Mars retrograding in the sign Cancer, sitting on top of this Uranus. If you don't remember, everything was fast. So you do have that. So don't say I didn't say LA. Confusion, misinformation around events. Let me see what else is happening in the sky here. Okay. That's what we have. Mercury is still up in Pisces, still getting on my goddamn nerves in Pisces. So we still have that. It's in LA sixth house. That is also logistics and day to day. Things could be lost and confused. 24 degrees, an ending of something. And also could represent death too. Let me see. If we have anything else. Yeah, deals with open enemies, seventh house. Yeah, okay. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I have that I did not remember. Okay, so that's what we have for LA. If you guys are not from LA, then sorry. But if you are from LA or you know someone from LA, tell them, refer them to this part of the video. Now, I want to talk about something else that's going to happen in the future. Another date. Okay, we'll take LA out of this. And we are going to go to October. June, July, August, September, October. It's really October 3rd, but from October 3rd to November 13th, we have Venus that's going to retrograde in Scorpio. The retrograde pre-shadow phase starts August 31st. Okay, so it retrogrades in it retrogrades in Libra, and then it retrogrades in Scorpio, and then we'll come back. Okay. Now this one here, Venus, and I think this is going to affect all of this war here. Let me bring up. Well, first, let me see what's happening in LA. Let me see. Let me switch it. Let me see. Is Libra and Libra over here? So it could be affecting LA too. Anyway, but let me go back. That's me being selfish and looking for myself. Let's go look at Iran. Venus retrograding. It seems like I think is it over here. It's gonna go in Libra. It's gonna affect Pluto. It gets closer to Pluto. If we are dealing with Israel, it's going to be on their ascendant in their first house. And if we're talking about USA, it's gonna quincunx our Mars, which is in our seventh house. Okay. Now let me just show you. So this is Iran. It's gonna affect Pluto. Pluto represents transition, rebirth, and death, and power. Okay, so and Venus represents redoing, repeating, not Venus, retrograde. Retrograde means repeating and redoing. Venus represents open enemies, partnerships, harmony, your balance. Okay, so that is happening in Iran. Here is Israel. Venus is, where's our Venus? Do you guys see it? Venus is sitting here. It's going to go in the sign Libra. It's going to go backwards in the sign Libra. It's going to sit in their first house in Israel. May not be the best for Israel. Okay. Let me see what else we have here. Who didn't I do? Did I do Iran? I didn't do USA. And for USA, Venus, where's our Venus? Is sitting here. It's going to quincunx Uranus, Mars too. It's going to quincunx Mars. All right, so let me tell you the prediction. So Venus, and this is around October to November. Okay, so mark your calendars. When it gets too close to Iran's Pluto, remember Pluto represents power struggles, control, hidden influences, transformation, death. There could be some alliances because it's going to be in that 11th house for Iran. Networks, the future. There's going to be some power struggles with their alliances, maybe with their partners, maybe with the neighboring countries that's supposed to help them. I wonder if we'll see it, because we don't get the real news a lot of time. But hidden political maneuvers, reemergence of old conflicts could be happening. Now, for Israel, because it'll be sitting in its first house, for Israel, this is their national identity. This is something that we will definitely see. This could represent a leadership of some sort of happening. Then it goes into their resources too. Global image is being recessed. Are they being harmony? Are they being fair? Is there justice? That could be a huge thing that we could be aware of. It's opposing a descendant. The opposing of the descendant could represent us, and it could represent the open enemies. So there is something not working great, or maybe it's working great for Israel. I don't know if it will be working great, but just know that this is a big date because it's hitting all of USA, Iran, and Israel's planets. Okay. And when it hits Israel, when it hits USA, is going to quincunx Uranus. Mars. When it quincunx Mars, Mars again, military aggression. This is USA. and an open enemy. So this could be dealing with Israel's situation, or maybe even Iran. I just want you to understand that there's going to be something that makes someone uncomfortable. Maybe the partnerships, maybe there is friction, maybe there's pressure with allies. This is not a solo situation because Venus deals with a team kind of thing. So just get ready for that placement. And that happens October to November. So get ready for that to happen. Also, to another big thing we have for the future, and I'll just remove this, is that you have Uranus that's going to enter Gemini. Uranus is currently in Taurus. It will be moving into Gemini April 25th. It's coming up of 2026. It stays there for about 7 years. But once it enters there, it will be, let's see, let me put it there. Let's put it there. April. Okay. So let's do the day. I don't know what I ate. April 20. Where's, oh, here it is. It's at the top here. Okay. I'm looking at the top, making it move. Okay. First, it's going to be here at 29 degrees. This is going to be a big doozy too. Okay. So the end of April, April is going to be a big show. Okay. 29 degrees is an urgency to close things off in regards to stability and things that we value. That's going to be happening with partnerships. But then also too, if you see here, now it enters Gemini. This is going to be big because when it enters Gemini, this is going to affect Iran. Iran, it will enter their seventh house. Their seventh house, again, could represent us or their partnerships, okay? Israel is going to go in their ninth house. That represents global affairs. That represents anything dealing with international themes for them, okay? Let me see. In USA, this is the big one. USA, it will enter a Uranus return. Okay. Every time we had a Uranus return, let me actually pull up the chart for this. I'm glad I have my notes because I don't think I remember any of this. If you see our Uranus is at 8 degrees, once Uranus enters 0 degrees, it will be sitting on top of this. That makes a strong energy. That means that every time we look throughout history, whenever we had a Uranus return, we've entered war. We had the Revolutionary War. We had a Uranus return. We had Civil War. We had World War II, and now we have now. So when Trump says war is ending, astrologically, it doesn't make sense. This is just the beginning. Okay. Now it's in the seventh house. It will trine our MC in America because our MC is not in the 10th house. So we'll trine our MC. So things look good. It's going to sextile our IC. So that seems positive. Gemini represents technology, communication, intelligence, media, information. It also represents community and a huge change within community. When I say community, I mean within neighborhoods, okay? So there will be a change in neighborhoods. There could be technology warfare, cyber conflicts, intelligent leaks, propaganda battles, rapid geopolitical shifts, sudden alliances, and betrayals. That could be happening too. But every time we have this, there is war, okay? So get ready for that. That is April 26th. So what is the point of all this? And let me see what else we have. Uranus is about disruption, sudden events, innovation, rebellion, unpredictable development. I told you what Gemini represents. So when you have this, again, a lot of discussions of war, transportations of war as well. Our transportation could be disrupted. A change in transportation too. Let me see. Unexpected confrontations with rivals for Iran, pressure on leadership and structures with Israel too, with Iran as well, not Israel. Doesn't look the best for Iran for Uranus and Gemini. Looks very interesting for Israel because Israel, Uranus conjuncts Israel's Mercury. So their communication skills are going to talk, and their trade is going to be very interesting. What happens to their trade meaning like things, because this represents trade as well. So like how we get things. Yeah, you know what trade means. Yeah, I think I'm getting tired, so I'm like running out of things to say and how to say it in a very clear manner. But what I want you to understand is that there are 3 important dates to pay attention to. April 10th is when Mars enters Aries. That's very important. That's going to represent a lot of things, not represent, a lot of things of huge escalation of conflict is going to happen. So get ready for that. And then when you have, what was the other thing that I said, you guys? Do you guys remember? Let me put my notes up bigger. Uranus and Gemini. It was something else besides Uranus. Oh, Venus. Venus retrograding in the sign Scorpio. That's towards October to November. That's going to be a big thing. And then Uranus, I should have said Uranus before. That's April 25th. It enters Gemini. That is when a war will be official. Okay. I don't care what Trump is saying or anyone saying. And mind you, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm just an astrologer. I do vote. But I just want you to understand that that is what we have currently in the sky. Okay. Thank you. You're warning us. I am. Thank you, Danyell, for sharing your prognosis. You're warning us. Hoping there's no more wildfires. There are no more wildfires. Hopefully. I can't speak currently. Anyway, so those are the 3 important dates that everyone should pay attention to. I am giving a warning about Los Angeles. I have not looked in other places, so there is that. If you are in my paywall, if you're part of my private community, I'm going to either today, if I have time, or definitely tomorrow, there will be kitchen talk on all this. Okay, I'm going to break it down even more, have things written down, and be a little bit more not filtered about all of this and the details of everything that we have going on for the war. But I just want you to understand again, LA, warning for Los Angeles. April 20th, April 10th, it officially starts. You guys start having your parties now, okay? It's March 12th. Get it in. If you guys are trying to do that fast fashion, if you're just YOLOing and having a great old time, then go ahead, do it now, because life is going to change for a lot of people. Words are powerful. So I'm not going to say it's going to change positive or negative, but there will be a change. Okay. Let me pull some cards for us and see what we have here. First of all, what question should I ask? Just war? I don't even know, like, what do we need to know about this war? We'll put that. Look at this. The person is literally fighting. Okay. We have stand your ground, a lot of boundaries, a lot of defending, a lot of challenges. Let's see what we have for USA. Because that was a random question. We already know. USA, 6 of Pentacles. A lot of spending money. Looks like USA is just giving money to people. Material help. Finances for USA. It seems like that's going to be the biggest problem. Israel, what's going to be their problem here? The Hermit, spirituality, religion, soul searching is going to be their biggest thing. So let's see how it's going to be for them religious wise or spiritual wise. Looks like that's going to be the theme for them. And for Iran, what do we have? Oh, we have the 9 of Cups. It makes me think that they're going to be very satisfied overall in this war. 9 of Cups is also like good luck kind of energy, content, satisfied, emotionally rich, life abundance, success, achievements. um Yeah, Iran looks like they're living large. USA looks like there's going to be issues with finances, and Israel looks like there's going to be issues with the literal religion as well. Yeah, I don't know what else. Let's see what happens in April with Mars. We have the 2 of Wands. That is movement. That is research. There's some first steps happening here, choosing a path. So let's see. This looks like this is going to be the beginning of something. What happens when Uranus enters Gemini? We have the Lovers. Lovers represents Gemini, but strong communication skills. There's going to be a huge thing with relationships. USA and Israel, Iran, and maybe some other country. Strong things with relationships when Uranus enters Gemini. What was the other one? Oh, Venus retrograding. That happens around October and November. We have the 8 of Cups here. This is a walking away from what no longer serves us, moving on, leaving. So that makes me think that a country is going to be leaving wherever they are, the boundaries. Because remember, I told you this conjunction changes the boundaries a lot as well. All right. And mind you, we already saw that with Palestine. You already see Palestine being decreased as well. Yeah, that last card, I'm going to keep that out. I'm going to talk about that. Where is that card? Anyway, keep that one out. That 8 of Cups. The 8 of Cups is like a big one. Anyway, okay. I hope if you guys have questions, you want me to do more like a tarot reading on this, maybe I'll do that next video, but you have to write in the comments, or I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna do whatever I feel. Yeah, I hope I answered your questions. I am saving this so you can review this, go back over this, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.